everybody, and welcome to the very first application surgery we're running here at the Student Room. So application surgeries are a series of 4 live events that we're running through November, live at 5 every Thursday, and we're here to support you with any questions that you've got about your university application, big, small, tough, easy, whatever it is. We're joined by a host of experts as well to help support you. You can ask us any questions that you like and we'll get them answered for you. We'll also give you a really great introduction to the topic that we're talking about, and the experts will run through a really cool presentation. So my name is Grace and I'm a community manager here at the Student Room. You may know me better as Strawberry Dreams on site if you're a regular user of TSR. I'm sure I've bumped into a few of you. If you're new here, then welcome to the Student Room. It's lovely to have you. We have loads of support for students, whether you're considering going to university or apprenticeships, you just want to chat about student life, what it's like. There's so many different things that you can do here on TSR, so welcome. If you're in year 12 or 13, which you might be if you're interested in this particular session, we also have a fantastic newsletter where you can sign up for all the latest information and resources about being in college and taking A-levels, BTECs, whatever qualifications you're taking, we'll be able to support you. So do check in the first post for more information and for a link to sign up for that newsletter. So, kicking off the very first application surgery here today, we have the lovely Heather and Beth from UEA joining us, and we're going to be discussing today a little bit more about whether university is the right decision for you. So there may be loads of reasons why you're thinking about going to university or not thinking about going to university. You might have a few different questions that pop into your mind when thinking about what to do in the future. I know things are a bit uncertain at the moment. So Beth and Heather are from UEA, so the University of East Anglia, and they're going to be talking to us today about what they do in the schools and college outreach team, and they're going to be chatting to you about what university is, what the benefits of university are, what other options there are available, and what actually is university like when you get there. So we'll also have a Q&A session after the presentation that they're just about to take you through, where you can answer your questions and they'll be able to support with that. So please do kind of pop your questions in the thread below and we'll make sure we get to them later. So welcome to Heather and Beth, and what I'm going to do is pass straight over to them to start the presentation.
Thank you. Hello, so I'll just get the session loaded, bear with me. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. So my name's Heather and I'm an outreach officer at UEA, and I work with a lot of local schools in Norfolk, basically raising aspirations and widening access to university. And I'm joined today by my colleague Beth, who is one of our higher education advisors. So yeah, our topic today is university right for me? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk you through sort of the main benefits of going to university, so you can find a bit more about that experience and whether it's something that you feel like is for you or not. So the ones we are going to cover are career, knowledge, life skills, and the social side to going to university as well. So again, please feel free to pop any questions in throughout and we'll answer as much as we can after the talk. So to begin with, I'm going to focus on the benefits of going to university in terms of your career. So, as you may already be aware of, going to university can improve your career opportunities. And actually, graduates are more likely to have higher employment rates than non-graduates. In addition, on average, graduates can earn 20% more in their lifetime than those without a degree as well. So I know that money isn't everything, of course it isn't, but it is just worth bearing that in mind because your earning potential as a graduate is statistically higher than those who don't have a degree. Also, there are a certain number of careers out there that do just require you to have a degree in order to go into that particular profession. So I've just got a couple of examples here on the screen. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but careers such as physiotherapist, doctor, lawyer, social worker, pharmacist, all require you to have a degree. And a new one actually very recently is a police officer. So you have to do a degree level study, whether that's university or an apprenticeship. So there are lots of careers out there that do require that level of qualification. But even if there are careers out there that don't stipulate a degree, the transferable skills that university gives you makes you favourable to any future employer. And also, going to university keeps your options open for a career. So don't worry if you don't have a career in mind. Lots of people don't when they go thinking about university, but it's just worth thinking about if you do have that goal in mind, working backwards and thinking, right, what is it that I need to study in order to achieve that goal? And the transferable skills that make degrees so favourable to employers, just got some examples below. So things like the independence and independent working that university gives you, the time management. I think the most important one to highlight here that's sort of different from other qualifications is that critical thinking and critical analysis of work and evidence and things like that. That's one of the main skills that university can give you. So handing over to my colleague Beth.
So in this section, I'm going to touch on knowledge and types of courses and the university learning experience in general, because it's very different to what you might have experienced already. I think you'll have to click on for me. I feel like Boris Johnson at all those awful press conferences been doing, saying next slide. So when it comes to choosing what you want to study, the biggest piece of advice that we can give you is to choose something that you really genuinely love. You're going to be studying it for at least 3 years at the minimum at university, so you need to enjoy it and have a natural aptitude for it. This isn't about what your parents want you to do, what your teachers or friends are doing, want you to do. This is what you are going to pursue, and you need to have a passion for it. Absolutely love it. It can't be something that you're really struggling with already, or that you think, oh, that'll be good to do, but I'm not really loving it, because university can be hard at times. So this is something you've got to have a real passion for. Next slide, please, Heather. So how do you want to study? This is where all your research comes into it, really. A course can be anything from 3 to 7 years, depending on what you choose. So a bachelor degree is a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts, and really depending on what area you're going into, but you don't need to worry too much about that. They're generally 3 to 4 years long. You might choose to do an integrated master's, which is an extra 1 or 2 years on the top of that as well, and then you apply for that initially. You might want to do a joint honours. You might have 2 courses that you're really, really interested in, but you can't decide between them, or they just merge really well together. That's 2 subjects. It doesn't mean that you can just pick a random 2 and stick them together. You've got to make sure the university is offering that in the joint degree programme. You could also look at something called liberal arts if there's a few different areas you want to do. Some universities start doing those courses now. Or foundation years are a great option as well. So these are for students that perhaps didn't get the right entry grades, get onto their first year of their course. It's an extra year at the start of university that just helps give you a groundwork into what is expected for you from university study. And it's really not something to be sniffed at. These students actually often end up doing better overall than students that go into first year. So if you're worried about what results you're going to get, or if you're worried that you've got average results but you want to go to a better university, definitely look into foundation years. Next, please, Heather. So where to start? It is really, really difficult when it comes to choosing a UCAS course. It can feel a little bit overwhelming because there is a lot out there, but there are some questions that you might want to jot down off this presentation to ask yourself and to really have honest grown-up conversations with yourself. So what do you enjoy doing now? It might be a course that you want to continue with. You might want to look into new things that you've never tried before, but do allow that with the entry requirements. What are you good at? Like I mentioned earlier, you do have to have a natural aptitude for whatever course it is that you end up choosing. It can't really be something that you are really struggling with already at A level or BTEC, because university is obviously a step higher. So it needs to be something you have got a natural aptitude for. Could it be something you study at university? Is this something that you want to pursue? Or are you looking to turn it into a future career? Please don't worry if you don't know what university will lead to after with a career. Most people go to university not knowing, some lucky few do. So please don't worry about that. But like Heather said, if you do have a career in mind, you need to start working backwards now to look at what you need to do to get onto a career path for it at university. In terms of help and support at university, there is a great deal available. So please don't let this be something you become anxious about, whether you're worried about how you have a physical condition that you need support with, or a mental health condition, or learning difficulty that might affect your studies, whether it's essay writing or exams that you struggle with. If that's not your strength, there is so much support available to you at university, and they're all very, very good at this. And you should make sure when researching universities that they do provide these kind of services, because it's absolutely something that everybody needs to access at some point or another, and they should be providing it for you. So please look into that when looking at universities.
So I'm going to very quickly touch on the life skills that university gives you. So one of the main reasons you go to university is to build on your academic knowledge, but there's also some benefits from sort of other sort of softer skills that you gain from being there. So for a lot of students, or for some students, they decide to move away from home to study at university. Some people could decide to stay at home and commute to your university. Whatever it is that you decide, you will still gain some life skills from doing this experience. So if you move away from home, you're going to have to start doing your cooking, your laundry, sort of looking after bills and that kind of money management side. Even if you stay at home, you're going to be having sort of student loans to sort of understand and work out how to budget and that kind of thing. And you're just sort of introduced to more of an independent way of living, but you're introduced to it in an environment where everyone else is also in exactly the same boat. So you're kind of easing your way into adulthood with the support from other people around you. I've touched on the budgeting side there, and I'm not going to go into it in any detail in today's talk because we don't have the time in this session, but it's just a note because I know some people are put off going to university because of the cost. And I just want to reiterate here that student finance is available, and tuition fee loans and living cost loans are available for students. So please do not let finance put you off applying. And if you, we're happy to answer any questions on that during the Q&A as well.
So social side of things, we often focus very much on the degree side of things and the knowledge and studying, but university is about so much more than that. There's the whole social side of thing when it comes to university. There is a really exciting side of it. So it's not just about studying. You'll be meeting new people, trying new things, and having the absolute time of your life. It is the best time ever. I sometimes still miss it now. That's why I work at a university. Next slide, please, Heather. So in terms of the student experience, you do want to make sure you're getting as much out of it as possible. You're going to have to push yourself out of your comfort zone every now and again. And there's so many clubs and societies for you to join, whether you want to continue with something that you're already doing now, whether that's a sport or an activity, or you want to try something totally new. At UEA, we have over 200 different types of clubs and societies, whether that's if you want to do football, horse riding, you want to join the Garlic Bread Appreciation Society. There's so much out there for you to get into. Art galleries at university, we have over 60 gigs a year. Most universities have all the major bands coming to them. There's also so many campaigns to get behind and feel passionate about as well. So it's really a time in your life to be trying new things and being excited and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, which can feel a little bit overwhelming to begin with. If you're worried that your university isn't the same experience as all of your friends, it really just takes just joining one club or society for you to make new friends and to open up new opportunities for you. Clubs and societies in this side of university can help with your career just as much as the actual studying side of it as well. So please don't let everything become overwhelming when thinking about university, because it's very much a fun time. You will absolutely love it.
So just to quickly summarise those points we've covered there, so university can help with career opportunities. It's an opportunity to study something you love, develop valuable life skills, and enables you to meet new people and try new things. Now, just before we sort of finish the presentation side of this session, I just wanted to flag that there are other opportunities available other than university as well. If you're sat here a bit on the fence and are not really sure, I always encourage students to look into all of their options so they can make the most informed decision for the one that suits them best. So apprenticeships are also a really good opportunity after school. And on similar note to that, degree apprenticeships are becoming more and more popular as well. So degree apprenticeships, you have to apply by the employer rather than the university, but you end up with a degree level qualification at the end of it. Apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships are available on a wide range of different subjects, so it is worth exploring that as well. And of course, you can go straight into employment after university. There's a really good website called notgoingtouni.co.uk that I've investigated exploring, just so you can sort of get an idea of how that works and how you go about applying for apprenticeships and that kind of thing. I would also recommend creating an account on the UCAS Hub as well. So the UCAS Hub is part of the UCAS website, so where you apply for university, you can create a completely personalised profile, get information about different university courses, how to build your personal statement, that kind of thing. But it also has information on apprenticeship, so it's almost like a good one-stop shop for getting information on both sides. Again, if you are on the fence as well, there's absolutely nothing stopping you applying for university and some apprenticeships, and then making sort of going through the motions of both of them and deciding later on, depending on what options available and what offers come through to you. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour of everything. So we can now move on to the Q&A part. So sharing.
Thank you so much, Heather and Beth. I thought that was fantastic, really useful just to get a little bit of an idea about some of the questions you should be asking yourself when you're thinking about applying to university, or maybe you're starting your application. You just need to kind of think about all the different options before you get going. So I thought that was really useful. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do now is go into a little bit of a Q&A. We're going to be asking a couple of questions that have already come through on the thread, and any live questions that come through as well. So if you are watching and you have any questions, do make sure you pop them down in the thread below, and we'll try and answer as many as we can in the next 15 minutes or so. So just to get started, we'll have a think about kind of, can university be wrong for anybody? Is there any situation where you think actually it may not be suitable, or they need to have a little further think into like the decision-making process behind that? What do you guys say?
I think from my perspective, I wouldn't say there's a particular type of student or a group that would say, oh, university is definitely not for them. I would never rule it out or stereotype in that way. I honestly think it's completely down to personal preference. And I would advise everyone to think about what they want to get out of the experience, what do they want to gain from it, and how do they like to learn as well. And then spending that time to research both options and just finding the one that's the best fit for them. And just because someone comes down an apprenticeship route doesn't mean that university wouldn't have worked out for them, and vice versa as well. So I would never rule it out because the tutors think, oh, university isn't, people like you don't go to university. It's absolutely not the case. Always do your research and do it based on what fits right for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Heather. I think some people may feel like, oh, university isn't for me. I don't know anybody who's been to university. I don't know who to talk to about it. So it can feel a little bit overwhelming, and that university may not be right for you. But actually, as you said, university is an option for everybody. Doing your research, making sure that you've thought about as many different options as possible is really important. So thank you so much. So Beth, I'd like to go to you now, if that's okay. What do you think you'd advise somebody who is worried that they wouldn't fit in at university, and that kind of aspect is a big issue?
Yeah, that's a really common question we get, just phrased in different ways. It's totally normal to feel anxious about going to university, thinking that you won't fit in, but everybody, remember that everybody feels like that. I can still remember turning up at university and feeling anxious that I wouldn't make any friends and things like that. But I promise you, just because everyone feels like that, everyone is so desperate to make friends, it doesn't become an issue at all. So either it's you're feeling scared on your first day at university and you just need to go and knock on a few doors, or just keep your room door open for people to come and say hello to you. Or if it's a few weeks down the line and you're still feeling like that, it does go back to what I said. You do have to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. Perhaps join a society for something that interests you. You're then likely to find really like-minded people. But the most important thing to remember at university is that everybody feels like that when they start. Even the most confident outward people will be feeling nervous when they turn up at university or are thinking of applying for it. So please don't feel like you're alone in that position at any point. If it comes down to you needing to support the support of the health services that university offer, please do use those as well. They'll help you, even if it's setting you up on a buddy scheme at things like that. We've got stuff like that at UEA to set students up with like-minded people who have been through the same things as them. So there's always something you can do to fit in at university. Just please don't feel like you should be nervous about that or that you're the odd one out, because I can still remember feeling like that now.
That's great, thank you so much. So we've got a question from a few different users on site. So 4MR17 and Inspired Pleb kind of asked the same question here. So do you think that more career sectors that don't currently need to get a degree in certain jobs are going to be increasingly looking at graduates, or, you know, everybody having a degree nowadays? Do you think more jobs will be looking for graduates? What's your experience in that, if you have any ideas? Oh, Heather, if we go to you.
I think the job market is one that's quite hard to predict, but obviously in this current time, we know the job market is not very good at the moment. So from that perspective, like going to university kind of gives you that opportunity to get that higher level qualification, and 3 years down the line, hopefully, we hope when the job market's a bit better, you're coming in and you're looking more favourable than those people who didn't go to university, because you have utilised that time well to get yourself onto that higher level. I think about 50% of school leavers end up going to university, so it's still quite a 50-50 split. But I think anything that you can do to make yourself look more desirable is going to be advantageous at the end of it, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. And it was interesting earlier when you mentioned about police officers and the fact that you're now having to look at, taking a degree as well to be a police officer. I think, there is potential for more and more things like that to happen. So the apprenticeships, degrees, whatever path you're looking at to go down in the future, I think, yeah, it's really important to research your options, definitely. Thank you so much. So we've had a question from Corvor. And we'll go to Beth for this one. I think so Corvor said, I'm thinking if universities are doing a lot of virtual teaching, couldn't I save loads of money and do an online course instead? What would you think about that?
This is something Heather and I were discussing earlier. It really depends what they mean. There's no like random online course that's going to give you the same experience or same level of qualification as university. You could look into distance learning. Some universities provide that. It's becoming less popular, or open university, but you're not going to get the same level of qualification. And actually, sometimes distance learning can cost the same as going to university. So if it's just the cost of things that's putting you off and things being virtual, then it's really not something I would recommend looking into so much, because actually by the time you guys are looking at coming to university, whether that's next September or the September afterwards or a January start, we are very much hoping that things will be back to normal at university. So please don't let coronavirus put you off in that sense. Things are very much, we're hoping to be back to face-to-face rather than virtual. Even at UEA at the moment, even with lockdown, we're aiming to give all of our students a proportion of face-to-face teaching. So even in the most dire of circumstances, students are still getting that proper university experience, and not everything is virtual. So please don't let the fact that things might be virtual put you off, because it's actually highly likely they aren't going to be by the point you're coming to university.
I think that's a really fair point about coronavirus. I know we're all in a really difficult time at the moment, but things hopefully are looking brighter in the future, and hopefully we can get back to some kind of normality in the next year or two. I say that with a big pinch of salt, obviously we don't know, but hopefully there's still that option there in the future. So I think that's a really valid point to kind of look into the future instead of focusing on the now. Thank you so much, Beth. So Heather, I'm going to go to you now. So we've had a question from Firefly 282913, and they said they wanted to work in business or do a business course, but they're worried that their grades aren't very good. So they're predicted a C and a merit in a double BTEC. What can they do with their grades? Can they even go to university? They're worried that for the universities that they may be looking at, I'm assuming that they might not be the right grades. What options would you give to Firefly?
So in terms of the grades that you receive, receiving like a merit in a C is usually absolutely fine grade-wise for a lot of universities. But one thing I would say on there is it depends on the BTEC that you're doing. So by the sounds of it, you're only doing a double BTEC. And what I would say is to get into university, you do need to be doing an extended diploma BTEC, the one that comes out with M3, so like a triple merit or something like that. So my advice for you, if you are thinking about going to university, is don't panic if you're not on the right course now. What you can do is talk to your college and find out what your options are, because you might be able to pick up a single BTEC alongside it, or an A-level, or simply transfer across onto a level 3 extended diploma BTEC instead. It's worth noting that you can go to university at any point in your life, so don't worry if it takes you a few more years to get there. So not everyone goes at 18. We have students starting at any age, so don't worry about that. If it's something that you really want to do, I think it's definitely worth taking the time to have a look at what other qualification you can pick up, so you can make sure you can get to university in a few years' time.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point about not having to go to university straight away. I know that I didn't get the grades I wanted when I first applied to university. I had to wait a year and retake to get to the university I wanted to. So I was nearly 20 years old when I started. So it feels a bit strange to like go when you're a bit older, but actually I had the same experience. I still really enjoyed myself. I didn't feel out of place at all. So yeah, there's definitely options. You don't have to go straight away if that's something that you're worrying about. Thank you so much. Beth, we'll head over to you now from a question from Inspired Pleb. I love the username. And then they've asked, I'm really unsure if I want to pursue a more specialised degree apprenticeship for a career that they're considering, which is digital marketing, or a more general degree to keep their career options open. They're interested in linguistics by the sounds of it. When it comes to that decision between something that's more specialised or more general, when they're a little bit unsure, what kind of things would you suggest?
I would actually first of all say linguistics is still quite specific, but I think that really comes down to your research and picking a university first and looking at how they drill down into the modules, because you might find that even though a course is quite general, you can still take a very specific pathway on it. So for example, English literature might have publishing modules or creative marketing modules and things like that. So even though you're choosing a general degree, you can still really make it quite specific in terms of how you pick the modules, because what's happening now with a lot of courses is universities are making them a lot more open. There's a lot more module choice that you can sometimes start with from the first year. You're not being told what to do with your module choices a lot of the time now. So this is where your research is really, really key. Nobody can make that decision for you. It's a very, very personal choice. I could say to you, oh, definitely choose linguistics, that will get you loads of jobs, but it really comes down to what you're going to be interested in studying and how much you're going to enjoy it and get on with it. So it's not an easy answer to that one. You really need to be doing your research on the university website. All the module choices are there in detail. You need to be looking at those and attending the open days and taking the subject specific testers that universities are offering on their virtual open days at the moment to see if it's something you enjoy and something that you want to carry on with at university. But that's a difficult one, but you are doing the right thing now by asking that question and looking into things. So please don't panic, you will get your way there.
Yeah, I think that's really valid to say, like, getting those questions out now, asking those questions of yourself now is important. And instead of kind of later on down the line when it all gets a little bit panicky, this is the right time to be asking yourself those kind of questions. So I think that's some really great advice. So we've had a live question come through from Asthma1608 asking about UEA in particular, just saying, do you have any tips on what to say or do in an interview with UEA? I think they're particularly applying for medicine, actually. So I was wondering if you had any particular tips. Oh, go Heather.
You go first, Heather. We'll see if we both got the same advice.
So Beth's probably more the med expert than I am, but I think for any interview that you are applying for, the really drill down in terms of your prep work is really focus on what you have gained from all of your experiences, because that's really what the interviewers want to see. So if you've done any of your work experience or any research that you've done, whether you've done an EPQ or whatever supercurricular, extracurricular activities that you're adding into your application, really focus on what skills that has given to you and how that has helped prepare you for that particular course, because that's what they want to see, what you've learned from it, and shows that you have that understanding of what it means to pursue that particular course. And I think with any NHS course as well, always sort of being aware of what the NHS sort of core values are as well is really important.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. That's absolutely perfect. Yeah.
I was going to say, Beth, is there anything you wanted to add? But that's perfect.
I mean, medicine, like what Heather said is spot on, but for medicine also be prepared for them to challenge kind of like how sensitive you are to things, because they will give you scenario-based questions as well. So don't appear steely to it, but also be prepared to have something very sad told to you, and not to be a burst into tears at that point is always a bonus.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. Thank you guys so much. So we're actually just coming up to the end now. So I just wanted to again thank Heather and Beth so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely wonderful having you on. You've given some really great advice, and you're going to be we're going to be talking to Heather and Beth as well about if there's any extra questions that come in after the Q&A, and see if we can get their support on that. So don't worry if you've missed the live Q&A. We're going to be seeing if we can get any questions answered afterwards as well. So that's fantastic. We mentioned about kind of looking at next steps after this. So if you're deciding actually university is right for you, our next session is looking at how you research universities, how you make your university choices, and how do you shortlist down to your kind of top 5 to put your application in. And we're joined by Nottingham Trent University next week to talk about that. Same time as usual, Thursday, live at 5 p.m. So I do hope you'll join us for that. Just to finish the session off, again, thank you to Heather and Beth. It's been absolutely wonderful having you on. We really appreciate it. And thank you again, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye.